Who's in that?
Yeah.
Um,
Don't mind me. Act like I'm not here. Just keep
is
on.
this live?
Yes.
Actually?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We should assume this late.
Nah. Why?
What?
Why? He told me to come capture this.
Okay.
What were y'all talking about?
We're debating about Candace Owens, but
Keep going, nigga. What the fuck? Why y'all stop? See, I seen Jimmy about
drama.
fucking camera.
Drama.
Phone's better.
Phone's better.
Yeah, phone's better.
Yeah, Rose enjoying right my popcorn.
I was just sitting in the middle of the debate. Well, you know, fuck. To me, to me, it's just a question of duty. It's like you say, truth or funny. I feel like.
And I don't think I compromise that in you actions if I do.
That's my perception of it.
I haven't seen any valid points where you think I compromise.
If you, those things like you not doing the debate with Byron or the show with Byron,
which we both agreed was a waste of time.
I think it should have been restructured. Because I told Myron, having 4 people agree, it's not going to be good for me. Well, because it's supposed to be called controlled chaos. I said, where's the chaos?
Yeah, it's 4 people agree. Yeah, we should have had the Destiny on there. It's just different opinions. The show would have been you talking, and then me like once in a while saying like, I wouldn't even have contributed really.
Right.
Like I don't think anyone can feel I think I'm vindicated because you guys can still do the show without me having it.
Well, I told him, I said, we need to restructure it and bring on liberal guests. But the point is, I felt like back in November, whenever that happened, you did it not because you thought, you could say, oh, well, it was a bad idea. I agree. I don't think that's the reason you didn't do it. I think the reason you didn't do it is because you said this would be good for my career to do a show about Jews with Myron, Nick, and Elijah.
There's a lot of reasons. Like, it's just not.
Are you acknowledging that?
It's a bad idea because I don't want anything. The show's not good. It doesn't help me. It doesn't push any conversation. It's not new. There's just no reason. There's no reason to do it. There's literally no reason to do it.
Okay, but you were pushing it, and then you determined it was a bad idea.
As I told you, like pushing it because Myron's excited about it, and he goes to the morning.
I just don't believe that. Maybe in your heart of hearts, that's the reason you didn't go through with it. But
so you would have preferred. So now we're looking back now. You said the show's bad. We should have done it. But you're looking back. You said I should have done it, even though it was bad, because of what?
I'm saying you switched up. And it's convenient for you now to say, oh, well, I didn't do it because the show was a bad idea. But if the show was a bad idea, maybe you would have suggested, let's restructure the show. Let's bring on liberals. But you bailed on it at the last minute, literally days before you're going to do it.
I didn't do that idea. That didn't cross my mind like this. It doesn't benefit, and I'm not going to do it.
It doesn't benefit.
Yeah, it doesn't benefit. What do you see that a problem with benefiting? Isn't that the whole point of why do you want to benefit? You want to lose?
No, it's not a question of
benefiting's wrong.
Like a problem with benefiting, but this is where it goes back to there's 2 tracks. And there's a track where we can think in terms of we're going to tell the truth no matter the consequence, and then there's a track where benefit comes into consideration. Because think about it this way. 10 years ago, there was no benefit to talking about any of this because you would just get banned from everything. Someone had to say, and I'm going to get banned on YouTube saying it first and not benefit, and that person was me. And then 10 years later, people like Candace Owens walk over my dead body and play their game strategic. You fuck with her or not? Not really.
I like getting so bad.
I don't really.
I don't have any sort of like ill will.
We have people the ones. I think everyone off. Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Tucker, everybody. J.D. Vance. I'm like, well, I don't know who the fuck this
is. The vice president, the biggest podcast. That sucks, dude.
Tucker started it with me.
Did you see Tucker cross the fish symbol on the back of the Garden interview?
Yeah. Did you send him a sign?
Is Tucker like a Fed?
I think so.
I think it's controlled ops.
I think so
I
too.
really do.
I think so too.
I think it's hard not to be when he comes in the upbringing he came up.
Yeah.
It was shoveled front and center to the mainstream networks to preach whatever the hell they wanted them to preach.
Yeah.
It's hard to think he's not in some type of propaganda.
What about the streamers? Yeah, who you not fucking with the streamer?
Hassan Piker. Who else is even out there these days?
Sneako.
We don't have beef. it's kind of like, I mean, we're friends, but we disagree. But that friends is our friendship richer.
No, but he doesn't want me to, like, he seems to think benefiting or like profiting off of social media is something bad. No. Crashing out, like yeah, if you lose everything, you're based. No. Like, the more you lose, the more true time you want.
That's not true. I told you.
So then why do you smell like you smear when I say benefit as if that's like some cancerous word?
Because you want to have your cake and eat it too. I encourage you.
Yeah, why would you not want to eat your cake? But you want to look at the
I was just saying you want to have a both ways. You can't have a both ways.
Why? You can't have both ways.
You can't selectively compromise for career benefit, but also be a martyr of truth telling.
Well, what do you think? If I didn't want to do the show, but I thought it was bad, and I'm glad, like, what do you think? I'm proud. You think I'm like, oh fuck, I wish I did.
Well, I mean, I encourage you to stop doing red pill content.
So then what's the problem?
Because you said, well, I don't understand your criticism. My criticism is not that you do things for your career or that you don't. The criticism is you have to pick a lane and stick to it. And here's why.
I don't think so. I think you can drive in all lanes. I think
he has his own lane.
Yeah, for example, you can drive fashion lane, you can drive music lane, politics, religion lane. Why? If you just drive on one lane, that's really boring.
It's not a matter of
split in and out of traffic.
It's not hard for you, Nick, because you're like Alex Jones. But like Sneako has his own lane. He does all sorts of different
things. That's shit with Neon. Like, we have completely different content. I have different paths. But
that's what makes it cool.
I see creating content as an art film, you know, and we'll do different things. I would see it as like my mission is that, like, no, I like to create.
I know, but it's not a matter of the subject matter. The question is, again, the strategy that's involved. Here's a case in point, you know, like being involved like in this stream with me. This is like not good for your career.
I didn't know you were coming. Yeah.
And
wait, he's doing it. But he's doing it.
We had no idea.
Hold on, let me just like give one.
This is embarrassing.
Keep the talk out, of course.
Tell me.
This is the most volatile person to anyone's media career.
What happened to me?
You can get banned on everything for being a camel there.
Tell me.
A lie.
Yeah, good enough.
I'm serious.
The
the singular most person that could ruin your career in a second is just being on camera with him. What? Well, yeah.
You agree? Objectively, that's true. Yeah. No. That's
You're
But that's cool. You weren't like you participate. You're just sitting in the room. You're not
I know. You don't contribute to this conversation. You're benefiting. You know, you're a sellout.
But see, you're like defensive about it. I'm not even attacking. I'm not saying you're a sellout. I'm saying that
But Nick, here's what I say. Your category and your focus can elevate your personal brand and success to the highest level of said cat.
Yeah.
If Sneako chose one or the other, he would limit himself because he doesn't make it. He's not going to be the ultimate red pill or religion or this. Like, he's not.
Yeah, I'm not good. Like, it's not even like
we're talking past each other. I feel like what I'm saying is very clear, but it keeps going to these other directions.
No, but that's the reason I think I was addicted about it. Like, is when I finally got, after months of like trying to work at, you know, getting myself back. When I got,
what do you mean getting yourself back?
Getting, you know, I got unbanned on Twitch, and then I got unbanned on YouTube in a day, and then I started streaming on Kick. Things were going well. Adam 22 just texted me, tell Ye he can't make an album called Cuck without coming to see me.
Oh.
That's funny. I told Ye the other day he wanted,
was it a camera?
It was, I won't say it, but, yeah, well, I was getting banned on all these platforms, and then he started laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm like, part of the reason, one of the main reasons that I was so deep left on was, you know, having you on, so it's true.
But do you know why it was funny? Why it was ironic?
Because I left the podcast and you're like, oh, haha, look, anyway. Regardless, it's like, you're supposed to make your friends look like in public, your friends. You know, especially in a situation like that was brutal, bro. I've been trying my whole, like, everything to get my YouTube channel back. You know, it's my life. And I got it back for a day and then I'm banned. That's like saying, it's like using saying North with the kids. That's my kids. That's Kim Kardashian taking my children. Yes.
Okay.
That's the same thing. YouTube is everything in my life. That's not a matter.
man.
That's the truth that I think I'll never be fired with my being. YouTube was my life. I've been doing this since I was 13 years old, and I have a category of everything I've done. I got it back for one day after trying to and then kick, and then switch. And then here you go, like the guy that was radioactive laughing at it. It's like, what the fuck was this all for?
Here's why, okay? You hung us out to dry. You bailed on us.
How's it hung out to dry? Because I did you one podcast?
Because you pushed us to do it, and then you bailed on us.
Pushed me a couple texts? Was it really like I was nudging you?
Yes. I really didn't want to do it. You pushed us to do it. I booked the flight. We were a week out.
Wait.
You say something. Showtime. We were a week out from doing it. You bailed for your career. Then you get banned
for many reasons.
And that's us. And like you just said, your YouTube channel's your baby. YouTube is the Matrix, dude. Your baby is the Matrix. That's how the Matrix controls you.
Regardless of what it's called, I like to see my catalog again. Even if I never posted on there, having that back metal last for me. Whatever you want to call it. And you said yourself, well, the show was a waste. So then why, like, stay on this high ground about this show that I bailed on when it benefits nobody? You didn't want to do it, and we all know it was going to suck.
What you just said about your YouTube being your baby,
yeah.
I mean, that's just everything right there.
That's my discography. That's everything that have the video. That's all like, yeah, but it's not the same. I created them for YouTube. Now in the comment section there.
You're just attached to this, like, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be on YouTube. It's like more than you want the integrity of being free.
No, I'm on my YouTube channel, man. I want to be able to. That was like a painting. Like everything I did on there, I curated for that channel. Maybe you don't understand it. If you don't get it, without identity. It's not that. I mean, it's not really yours to say. It's something that I created. It's something that I did, and I did.
Well, at the end of your life, you have your YouTube channel. There you go.
What do you mean?
I'm saying, when we all die, when we all pass on to the grave, some people will have their YouTube channel. They will have their conference of legitimacy from the system. I'm a YouTuber. I have my channel. Here's my catalog. And some people have their actions. They stood up for what was right.
The show was wrong.
They told the truth when it was different.
We're agreeing that show was wrong. Like, we're agreeing that show was not the right thing.
But you pulled out because it would have affected your career.
No, just like how I said, because we thought, like, there was no point.
That's not why you backed out. That's not why you unfollowed me on Twitter. That's not why when I got here, the first thing you said was, there goes me getting my YouTube channel back. Because that's always in your head.
Because I've been trying very hard to get it back,
Yeah. When you say you're trying to get it back, what does that mean exactly? How do you try to get your YouTube channel back? Do you moderate what you say so they'll approve you?
I don't moderate it. I went to the YouTube headquarters. I'm trying to get the right moves.
What does that mean, make the right moves?
My brand and my community love speech. People think that I'm a hateful person, and now I've like been focusing on the right things and saying the right things.
And saying
about being a person.
You're streaming with Jewish rabbis and saying, "Oh, Jewish people aren't the problem. It's Zionists. It's this." I mean, you yourself said you don't call them Jews, you call them Zionists because it sounds better.
Like, that's what you want me to say Jews are the problem. That's the overall sum of everything I do.
When you say you're doing the work to get your YouTube channel back, we all know that means you're bending over backwards to appease YouTube so they will get it to you. And I'm saying fuck YouTube. I'm saying fuck Google.
If you want to do that, it doesn't need to be my life app. That doesn't need to be what I do.
I know, and that's the difference between us. You want your YouTube. I said I don't give a fuck. I got strikes on my channel.
Well, but my YouTube channel is not yours to decide whether it exists or not.
I know. It's your life and it's your prerogative. And that's my criticism. You asked me what my criticism is, I told you.
So your criticism is that I want YouTube?
My criticism, I think it's pretty obvious what criticism is.
That I want YouTube because it's the Matrix.
I think you're too attached to the world. You got to let go. You got to learn to let go.
Okay, then why when you were on my stream, what did you say before you got him down swearing?
What?
Last time with Keith in my main apartment.
I remember.
I just want my fucking Twitter back.
Yeah,
I just want my fucking Twitter back.
I did. I never compromised, did I? I was doing rallies where I was saying things that were very reckless that I probably shouldn't have said. Things that I said in the heat of the moment or whatever.
You forgot when you said, like, oh, I'm not going to say the N-word anymore because it hurts people. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, I keep doing it.
Okay, but so why didn't you say that in the first place? That's
How much do people tell? People tell
like, you're compromising and then you're bending over backwards.
because I'm thinking about it. Everybody knows I'm not bending over that.
Oh, what's the difference? If you're saying I'm not going to say the N-word, you just be doing his back.
Because I didn't get a banned on Twitch. Because I was down to fuck with the podcast with Byron and Elijah.
Okay, but like, bending over backwards, we're not saying the N-word anymore.
But I do.
Okay, but when you said that, when you said I'm not going to say this anymore.
I said that because people are saying that to
Okay, but so you're not conscious of your own words. It came out of your mouth and you said it. That's compliment. By more logic, you're doing the same thing. By saying, by polishing your message, you know, it could be more broad, which is what I'm trying to do. By like cleaning it up and making sure that people can use stuff against me.
You're cleaning it up.
Yeah, just like you're not
use things against.
just like you're not saying yeah.
I don't like you clean. Okay, I like
Then say the word Then say
I do. This isn't my stream. I'm not going to get.
you're betting over for this stream or not?
I'm being considerate.
We gotta get to the gay.
What's the
I'm going to say it on the album.
well, so what's the difference between consideration and betting over backing?
You know the difference.
No, I don't. I can't figure that out. Same thing like how you're being polite on this stream. I'm trying to be polite so that I can get on the platforms that I want to be on. That's exactly the same thing.
That's a nonsense.
Well, you're doing the same thing that I'm doing to YouTube on this stream.
Listen. If you're so confident in your moves, then just own it. You're making smart, strategic moves to get your babies back.
Yeah.
So why not just own it? Why does that
I do.
like, okay,
I do. But the thing is, it's like, you know that I'm trying to do that, and if you respect me, why shit all over it when I've taken so many sacrifices already? Why not try to, I didn't claim not to try. That's like, it's ridiculous. Because I didn't push the podcast, but
You bailed on the podcast.
it's like, there's part of me that wants to be the, like, band guy, the outside, some, oh, this guy snaked me, this guy, he betrayed me because I didn't do a shit podcast.
And you're talking shit about white people for 2 months. White supremacists this, white supremacists that. It was like just a fucking
Racial supremacy is what? I never look. You see my debate the white Hebrew Israelites, and they were saying God is just like reading street. I think racial supremacy is wrong because I say supremacy is wrong. You're like you're shitting on white people.
Everyone knows we were doing. Everyone
Yeah, well, why was almost viral could be talking to the black
You're
supremacists?
doing cooking videos with rabbis, shitting on white supremacists. You bailed on the podcast.
Because love because I love everyone. I can't be around Jews now. Like I'm selling out by being around a Jew.
Everybody knows it.
What was going on, man?
You were trying to make yourself more palatable than cleaning up.
No, that's not true. So, like, remember, I went to the mosque with Aiden, and he's a Jew. And he put his head to the floor and we prayed, okay? The next day, oh, it's Sabbath day, let's do it. It's like a show love to Judaism. What's wrong with that?
And he shows up and say, oh, everyone's obsessed with Jews, and you say, oh, Jewish people are great, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You were on, like, an apology tour for, like, 3
Yeah,
years.
just said right now, I love Jews, and I don't involve with them, and you don't call him a sellout.
Because he means it.
You think I'm lying when I say that I like Jews?
He's not doing it self-consciously to get his YouTube channel, his fucking YouTube baby
You
back.
can't tell me what I'm self-conscious about. I love Jews. I don't have a problem with
Okay,
Jews.
then you're not making moves. You're not making moves to clean up your image and get your babies back.
That's the
You just know it's in your heart.
The moves are the same moves that you're making by not saying the N-word. If I'm not going to
I
say
say that.
yeah, but you said you're not going to. Same thing if I go on FCC stream, I'm not going to say the F word because I know that's it. I'm being considerate. I'm bending over backwards for consideration for FCC stream. Everyone does it, but you don't like it. But you pointed everyone else and say, oh, you're a sellout, you're fake. It's like, who's going to want to work with
I'm
you?
not saying you're selling. You're mad at me because I laughed at you. I told you I laughed at you. You said, well, you should be happy that I am trying to get my YouTube channel back. It's like, okay, I mean, good for you, but it involved turning your back on that podcast, which was dishonorable. And then you followed me on Twitter and said, oh, I don't want to get banned with Elon. That didn't even make any sense.
Everybody should.
I have a question. What Sneako, tell us what happens if you get your YouTube channel back. Like, what does that change in the course of your...
I have my catalog, a body of work in one place that you can look at.
But don't you have it in your hard drive?
Yeah, but people don't see it.
Yes, you do.
People don't see that. Of course I have. I have everything.
You can put it up on a different website.
It doesn't have the same thing.
Why?
It doesn't have, because that's the poster book. That's the museum.
Put it on Sneako.com.
Yeah, I have it on the website already. Yeah, it is.
Okay, so then why does it need to be on YouTube?
Because you didn't even know that. Because nobody knows that. Because it's not getting seen. Because it's not getting, people don't.
Oh, it's not being seen.
That's the whole point of making art. People look at it.
to be seen.
People make art so that it's
See, I disagree. I disagree. I think we make art
to express ourselves.
not to be seen on YouTube. That's
Yeah,
just correct.
but if nobody sees it, then what's the point of making it?
Some of the greatest artists die in obscurity. They make it because they have to.
Yeah, the die. Isn't everyone like die broke? Nobody knew what. Do you think we would have appreciated it more if you could see that when it's live?
This is just like a fundamental question. And then you alluded to it earlier. You can widen the net by diluting the art. And that's
Like you do when I said
your prerogative. Okay, but I do it.
and you said you and right now you're not.
If I contemplated it.
Why?
I mean, look, everybody contemplates. Let's be diplomatic. Let's resolve.
It's so again. This is the fundamental question: is being diplomatic wrong?
We're not talking about being diplomatic.
I think we are.
I don't think so. You be diplomatic and I'll talk about this.
But no, if I felt like I was compromising, it'd be something that's eating away. But I'm extremely glad
Okay,
to that
good.
podcast.
I'm glad that it's not eating away. But look, everybody in their life has to make decisions. And like you said, it's very personal because it's important that you be on YouTube. Now, let's take that away. That's valid that that's important to you. But everybody has to make decisions in their life about what they're going to sacrifice. For some people,
Yeah.
they're going to sacrifice everything, literally everything, their lives, everything.
But I mean, like, this is like this argument doesn't make sense. I remember when you first got your tour back into the space, you were like strategic about like, oh, let me say these things. I don't want to become like the Jewish diplomatic. That's a body that's bending over. That's not like, okay, are you holding that there? Are you compromising by not going full hard arm?
Once again, we're looping. But once again, I don't know why, if you believe what you're saying and feel no shame about it, why don't you just,
I never compromised what I'm saying.
okay.
I just didn't do a podcast that was pointless.
Yeah,
and that's to anger you.
Well,
And my approach was like, dude, I've done, from my point of view, and I think you could agree, I've done a lot for you.
yeah, you did.
I've done a lot. And then how does that look when you spit on all of it? When I'm like, man, I'm like, fuck. Everything that I've been working for, gone back and gone again.
Yeah.
How do you think that made me feel?
Because I thought that you were more real, I guess. That's the difference.
Okay, but in that moment when that just happened, do you think that that's what I wanted to see? Do you think that how do you think that makes like your friends feel?
How do you think it made me feel that you bailed on the podcast? So left us with our toxic.
I think you could have been like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. This doesn't matter.
This makes sense for his career. Let him bail on us 3 days
For your career too. You said the podcast was shit.
We were
It made sense for all of us.
We're gonna rebuild. Well, we're gonna a Myron podcast isn't the end of the world, bro. Like you gotta let that one go, right?
I understand the principle of the matter. It's about the principle of the matter. It's about, I don't know why it's even a point of contention here. On the one hand, you're saying, I self-consciously made moves to clean up my act. I abstained from certain collaborations or saying certain things. I leaned into other narratives to clean up my image to get my YouTube list. That's the most important thing to me. And then at the same time, you're like, well, no, I didn't do those things because, it just wasn't a good podcast. So I had followed you because, Eli was banning people and I said I love Jews because, I just do it.
But everyone, okay, why did you ignore David Duke on that?
Because David Duke is crazy.
What makes you crazy?
Like, something's wrong with that guy.
What's wrong? It seems wrong with me.
He's not. This is somebody that is legitimately preoccupied, I think, in a way that is unhealthy.
But yeah,
It seems like he can't talk about anything other than.
I talked to him for 4 hours, assuming wanted it. He seemed coherent for an old man.
Yeah.
He was made sound like he seemed like he was.
I don't trust him. Do you know his background? Do you know?
Of course, I didn't know before, but he explained it then. And it seemed like you didn't want to interact with me. I just thought you'd be interactive.
What was you doing in Southeast Asia?
I've got you can talk about that.
Oh, you didn't? What was you doing in Iran?
I don't know his place.
Oh, that's weird that he hangs out in all of these countries that are adversaries with the United States of America.
So he's a friend.
I don't know, but I don't trust that. I don't trust people that are the head of the KKK, which is infiltrated from top to bottom. I don't trust people that are teaching English in Vietnam. I don't trust people that are hanging out in Iran and somehow get a visa back to the States. I mean, look at, Jackson Hinkle, same story. He goes and, rallies the Houthis while we're on war with them and then walks through the U.S. Customs. How does that even happen? Like, awesome. So, I mean, and you're trying to throw it back at me. And look, we could talk about me, we could talk about my decisions. You started this by saying, I want to know your criticism is. I'm just telling it to you.
Yeah.
You can reject it and say,
So you say it's the principle of not doing the podcast. Like, so if it's principles, what do you think about the principle of not of doing that to somebody that you called your friend? Is there are the principles there?
I think that here's why I have a problem with it. My definition of friendship is that you will do something for somebody out of loyalty, even if it hurts you.
Like not laughing when I'm banned and when I need something.
Okay, that's after you threw us under the bus.
You're not even abiding by
You threw us under the bus to help your career, and then your career suffered anyway. So I said, wow.
Do you think that was disloyalty? Apparently everyone's disloyalty.
Yeah.
Everyone that you've ever interacted with ever. How many people have you said betrayed you and are disloyal? Is everyone betraying or is there maybe another common denominator?
Everybody wants their YouTube channel more than their integrity. That's why. How many people are willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of integrity? Do the right thing when no one's looking. Do the right thing when no one's going to give them the credit or see it on the fucking canvas of YouTube. Very few people. And that's why, and I have a lot of friends. But I know tons and tons of people, and it's a small percentage of them that are like me, really willing to say, fuck it, we bomb, I'm ready to die for this, and mean it. Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are in
So what do you expect me to die for?
the truth,
God, which is what? What's the truth?
which is that our country is being controlled by
Absolutely.
these people that worship the devil,
Absolutely.
and this has to be thwarted and stopped. We need to raise awareness about it.
I've never stopped talking. I've never stopped saying that.
Okay.
Never compromised on that.
Okay. Yeah, I believe.
So, maybe do you hear any sort of valuable advice here that maybe like it's not worth it to be crashed out on your
What is worth it? What is worth it mean? Like, worth what? Worth lying? Listen, just from like an axiomatic position, it's just deadly to say stuff like, I had to make boobs to clean up my image to get banned on YouTube. Like, that to me, nothing is worth that. Nothing is worth, like, begging YouTube for your channel back so you can have your fucking.
No one's banned for it was no promise. And if I had done that podcast, I wouldn't have the streaming career that I have now that I'm enjoying.
Okay.
Like I take this path now, and I was very glad. It's like you're acting as if I've compromised something. And I'm very happy not being on a podcast with, these dudes talking about Jews all day.
Yeah.
Like that just sounds miserable. Like I'm dying for this. Like, what are you doing? You're saying Jew on a mic in a room? Like, what is that doing?
Why do you think they censor if that stuff didn't matter?
Of course, it's important to talk about the truth. It's important to talk about control. But at a certain time, in terms of like you act like this strategizing is this terrible, toxic thing. When people that have done the most effective work in exposing Israel, Ian Carroll and Jeff Jones this year, these people are strategical about it. If Ian Carroll's here's the perfect example of strategy. Ian Carroll goes to Joe Rogan podcast, says Israel Epstein says USS Liberty in the first 10 minutes. He made a podcast and he waited until the last 2 hours. He waited until Joe Rogan's comfortable. He's being strategic. And look how many people woke up.
Because he said it one time. And then, by the way, here's your strategy. Then the next week, you get Dave Smith and Douglas Murray, who both agree there's a dark anti-Semitism on the horizon and needs to be stopped. They both agree about that. They said, well, you should be able to criticize Israel, but if you deny the Holocaust, there's really dark, woke right stuff going on.
Yeah, but that's you take back from what Ian Carroll's done.
It does. It's another form of manipulating the conversation.
It doesn't invalidate Ian Carroll's efforts on exposing Israel.
I think it kind of does.
Okay, so now is Ian Carroll's fault too?
No, and I like Ian Carroll, but to say that him going on Rogan and talking about fucking UFOs for 3 hours and there's a throwaway line about Epstein and Israel, you pretend like that's not the thing, that's a strategic victory. I just disagree. I also disagree because these so-called strategic victories, they don't happen in a vacuum. They happen after the sequence where people have been censored and banned to deliver that to the masses and create fertile ground for it. Because that Rogan and Carol conversation would have never happened if it wasn't huge on Twitter.
So what do you expect everybody? Do you expect like Ian Carroll and Janice to be like every day?
No.
Like, what do you expect people to give you? Compare it to the boat on T-Day. Someone's on the front of the boat, they gotta go to the lines first, people in the back of the boat. If the people in the front the whole time are like, fuck you, like, well, we're going to war, then you're losing. Like, everyone has to play a role, and you're upset that other people are not in the same role that you are.
No. I like Ian Carroll, but what I have a problem with is when people say that, like, everybody that talks about it explicitly and is like a legitimate propagandist, and I don't mean that in like they're dishonest. I mean they're committed to bringing the truth to people as much as possible. To pretend that like Ian Carroll saying a throwaway line on Joe Rogan is this huge victory.
It was.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Here's why. The only reason that Joe Rogan would bring someone on to talk about that topic is because it's been the biggest topic in the world for 2 years because of the war in Gaza. And they just had to.
Exactly.
No.
No.
They're like really like
Continue.
Who is?
They're like
The audience?
Yeah, they're like,
Really?
they were like we wanted this more than our bubble.
I was trying to fix
I know they'd be like, get these people out of here.
I was trying to fix the angle for you. Accidentally muted.
But here's the thing. And listen, it's not in this that Ian Carroll is like him, and he is a truth teller and he is effective.
They're actually enjoying this.
But you have to keep in mind the only reason Rogan brought him on to talk about Israel, which is a very taboo subject, Rogan had to do it because everybody was already talking about it. And everybody was already talking about it because people are getting so advanced.
Right next to it right now. Yeah, I want it to be off camera, but it's literally done.
Continue, sorry.
Is Epstein and JFK files finished? There's more to come.
Brother.
They're not going to release it. I mean, someone just asked a question I recently asked them about
Epstein, they destroyed the Epstein files. That's what they had. JFK, they probably destroyed it 60 years ago.
It's all redacted. If you look, the files are out there. It's just all like cars everywhere.
But, I mean, look, let me put a bow on this and say this in a way maybe that is more succinct. And I've said that, I'll give you an example. I did a fundraiser 3 years ago called Ghost Stars, a congressman from Arizona. They wanted to do a fundraiser because we raised a lot of money for them on a couple of occasions. I was on the federal no-fly list. I drove 25 hours.
You're on a no-fly list?
I was, but I'm not anymore. But because I was, I had to drive. Yeah.
You can fly yourself. You're compromising. If you get on a commercial airline, you're it's taking a day to fly Delta.
That's true.
Bro, this is fucking insane.
So we can talk like this on this platform.
You can talk like this.
I'm okay, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, we're with the CEO. That was the CEO saying. Yeah. You know how we do it. All right, keep going.
Bro, no-fly list is crazy.
I know, dude. I know. It sucked.
So you're like, what? You have to drive and take boats?
I had to drive.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So what would happen if you went into an airport?
If I go there, the boarding pass doesn't work. And so I go to the TSA or the ticketing counter and say, hey, my boarding pass doesn't work. And they would say, oh, okay, well, let me call someone. They call TSA, and TSA would say, he's not cleared to fly. And they can't even tell you're on the list. They say, you can't fly today. And I'd say, what does that mean? I can't fly here, this airline, this airport. What the fuck does that mean? I can't fly today, tomorrow. They said that's all we could say. Because the list is classified law enforcement information. So if you're on it, they can't even tell you. You don't even know. You just have to assume it. And anyway.
Would you ever box?
Box.
Like, would you ever get into boxing? Would you fight on brain race?
Probably not. I don't want to get hit in the face.
Okay. All right, continue.
I
Sorry.
get beat up. But so,
Yeah.
Huh?
No, no, it's
yeah, that's the only way you're getting out of this one is if you fucking knock me out. So I was on the street with him, but I kicked his ass. I shut that Nazi up. So I drove to this fundraiser. I drove 25 hours across the country to do it, and they canceled it when I got there. Yeah, I drove 25 hours to the fundraiser. They canceled it because the speaker was Republican at the time, caught wind of it, and they said to Go Star, hey, if you go through the fundraiser, it's going to be trouble for you. And I told the campaign manager, or whatever, I said, hey, man, why the fuck are you canceling? I'm like, I would prefer that you just not ever agree to do it. If you're going to do it, do it. If you agree to do it, follow through, whatever happens. Or don't do it. I said, well, what you can't do is agree to do it, maybe drive all this way. You're going to get a tax for it anyways, and then you cancel it, you don't get the money, and then you look like a cuck. I said, that's the worst of all possibilities. And that's kind of like, well, someone looks like a cuck. Ah, that's right. True. The album. The next week, 2 weeks, streaming everywhere. No, but you look like you're a coward. You look like you're backing down. And that's kind of the same advice I have for you. You asked me my criticism, and now you're doom scrolling and
I'm
fucking.
talking about the no-fly list now.
What?
You were talking about the no-fly list.
No! Okay, whatever. I was explaining my point, but that's okay.
So Chicago to Arizona drive?
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah,
It's brutal. Yeah.
Horrible.
But look, we can agree to disagree, but
Yeah, I don't think being banned everywhere is the measurement of how truthful you are.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
And I also don't think that argument makes sense saying, like, you're bending over backwards if you play by the rules. I'm like thinking, if you go to TSA and you're not yelling about Israel, you're bending over backwards. If you're complying and you're putting your laptop and take your shoes off to get in line at the TSA, is that being a sellout fraud, or are you just following the rules to get to a destination? It's the same avenue with content creation. It's a means to an end.
Fair enough. That's the other side of the coin. That's the other side of the argument. It's a tension. And I agree with you. It's not all or nothing. But there is a tension between whether you're going to take artistic liberties or whether you're going to prioritize commercial success or success in general. It is a tension. But I mean, look, the reason that I laughed about your thing, getting banned, first of all, we gotta grow a little bit of thicker skin. I mean, I understand that was hurtful, but we're adult men. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, you sound like you took satisfaction in that.
I did. Yeah, I took satisfaction.
Yeah, that sounded evil. Like what? Like an evil laugh at somebody who's saying, like a villain in a movie. Like, who the fuck? Like,
why are you giving me aura? Why are you aurifying me right now? I'm laughing like a villain in a movie.
Yeah, about somebody that you call your
providing satisfaction.
That is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, off of the system, off of people like control you or somebody you're calling.
Okay, but everybody can understand why you bailed on the podcast to get your channel. Then your channel anyway.
You keep making up why I had that shit podcast. It was a shit podcast. I mean, nobody wanted it. No, literally no one in my community wanted it.
It's so tedious. I think people want it.
There's not one person that loves me said, hey, let's do the podcast with the live.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask the chat. Hey, Sneako Love Speech. Did you guys want that podcast?
There's not one person who wanted that.
It was going to be me, Sneako, Myron, Elijah, and a special guest.
Love Speech. Did you guys want that podcast?
95% didn't even know who Elijah Schaefer was in my head.
Well, he's just your op.
All right.
I don't pay attention to this person's not on my radar.
Come on, that's
yeah. You think I'm thinking after this guy? Like, I don't give a fuck. It's not. I don't care. This is not something that I care about. My community cares about. Or that's fine. So I'm not gonna do it. It's not interesting.
Hey, you guys made up for it tonight.
What's that?
You didn't do the podcast, or you did this.
That's right.
It's a hit.
Look,
I'm not lying. The chat is saying yes, but I think there is people.
boom.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure it's two people because you have a very big audience. Shit, bro, I'm not lying. No fly list was fuck, man. It's something worked. Fuck. As long as I'm not afraid, I just
Dread it. Run from it. Where did it bring you? Back to me.
I feel like Sneako's doing better than he's ever done. You know,
I agree.
I'm very proud of this.
Back to each other.
What did I say? I said I love the vlogs. I know I love the
You know, you
vlogs.
said publicly, this is what I'm talking about. Whatever you think, you said not for a minute straight. Right? When I spoke to him, we made some calls, you say it privately, there's no one just say publicly, hey, Sneako's doing a good job on this, you don't say a word. Well, when something bad happens, then you go right to the stream.
Because, dude, you bailed and then you unfollowed me on Twitter and you clearly disassociated with me.
So why is that not being great? If you think my vlogs are dull, that you're being fake by not saying, why are you not saying that?
I'm saying it on the stream right now.
Why haven't you said it in the past 1 month?
I don't know. I want to answer.
Maybe you're betting on the backwards for your fans. Maybe you're trying to use the sort of thing. Maybe when they take TS and they say shit like rape Steve, you're like, oh, don't say that. Wait. But that's the evil shit that he does. It's like he knows. No, I know. You know what you're doing.
I think there's some friendship left.
You know what you're doing. They take this and rape Steve, you're like, hey, stop it. And I'm like, yeah, because you know you have edgy fans.
I literally say, don't say that.
You don't think you know what you're doing, really?
Sincerely, I say,
You're edgy. It's not like I care. But when I see you doing that, I'm like, this guy likes. You know, it likes attacking. You're very thin. You're like sanding your. It's not thin skin. I don't care about small comments. I care about you not caring about your friends.
Well,
that people that you supposedly care about. Why would you do that to people that have helped you out? Why would you like send people to go and attack people to say people that want their friends?
You know why? Because you're fair weather friends. That's why. Everybody knows that.
I'm a fair weather friend, you?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why you bailed on the dude.
All right.
In December, you texted me and said, "Hey man, I'm unfollowing you on Twitter because of what's happening with Elon."
Yeah.
Really? Elon, I had 500,000 followers. Elon was going to ban 500,000 people for following me.
It's very likely that somebody with my size and Twitter account would definitely get thrown across. Why would I take the risk? And that's what
There it is.
Why would I take?
There it is.
Okay, and I texted you explaining why. If I was a fair weather friend of something, I said this is why I'm doing
And
this.
you were full
Why does a follow matter to me? If it's gonna protect me in any sort of way, I'm the only platform that has everything I lost.
There it is. I will disassociate from you if it will protect me anyway.
How is it associated by saying this is what I'm doing? Like, hey, this is not a personal thing. This is something strategic. You're like strategy. Like you sell out. Like you don't understand.
You're just self-reporting it. Look. You're just self-reporting it. You say, if I can protect myself in any way, why wouldn't I unfollow you? Maybe because I'm your friend?
Yeah, but what is that? It doesn't define a friendship.
What are you talking about?
You think that defines like a little click on X?
What does that? I mean, like,
Honest. How you treat people.
I think it's whether you're standing with them.
Okay, and you didn't stand when I abandoned everything. You went and laughed it off as a
Being a deal on the podcast was more like a bad look. All your red pill friends were a bad look for you.
Ironically, like you talk about the victim nature of Jewish people, and you find yourself putting yourself in the victim. Everyone's attacking, everyone's against, everyone's betrayed me. You get kicked out of 109 friendships.
That's
Everyone's. How many people, like over the years since I've known you, how many people have
We
betrayed?
read the same thing. Well, listen. That's actually a good question. It's a valid question. Because it does appear to be the common denominator.
Right, 109 times. Look, when you guys see the other time, maybe there's a problem. Maybe it's time to look in the mirror.
It's a valid question. But you also have to consider, why did Neon move his chair 5 feet away from me on the stream after just that? Is it because
Because you could get a ban.
because that was the kind of pressure that I and everyone around me is under at all times. In other words, there is an immense incentive to disassociate and betray me.
Okay, so Janelle would risk everything is built to be on camera with you on a stream that's not his.
I'm not saying that. You're saying the reason people disassociate is because you're the problem, you're the common denominator. I'm saying there's a vast incentive for people to steer clear.
You were just a bad friend.
I don't think that's who's the bad friend. You bailed on us 3 days before the podcast.
Wait, it was 3 days or was it a week?
It was 3 or 4 days.
Oh, that's extended now.
But did you text for a reason of why? Or
Yeah, so like it's not a good podcast. It's a waste of money. Get 5 subs. It's like not a big deal.
okay, well,
Podcasts that hadn't even started.
You said this isn't a good movie.
It's like not doing a stream. It's like, okay, big deal. You're going to do it. Fuck you. Because like, so how many people cancel on your streams?
not a lot.
A lot. Is it give you like multiple days notice in advance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Is that at the end of, are these like, you people, do they portray you when I'm going to stream? Well, that's ridiculous to think.
If it negatively affects Sneako's career, it wouldn't make sense for him to do it. But as a friend, I think just him. I mean, this kid, man, I don't know shit, bro.
At the end of the day, you know, you're asking me why I had the criticism of you, why I left you. I told you. And that's what it is.
I heard it.
And you can disagree. You know, and people, I mean, you and I are standing here now talking to each other, and people are watching. They can think what they want about what was said, but you know where I stand on it.
Okay.
And like you said, and I'm not trying to be a dick and throw this in your face, but you said, like, YouTube is like my kids. It's like, I think that's just such a problematic, that's a kind of a gay word, but like, that's just like a fucked up way of looking at it, I guess. That's me. But that's me. That's who I am. And
So you can't expect everyone to be like not.
I don't.
I don't think everyone's you.
I don't
That's
expect
such a ridiculous belief.
I don't expect you to, but
But you think it's ridiculous that I like YouTube? You think it's like, why would you? But it doesn't matter what you think.
I what's for people who are not ride or die with me. You know, because I am in a die situation. Like, and not to be dramatic, but I am in like people are trying to kill me situation. So people are not
If people are ready to die for you, then they're just like, why everyone has to die for me?
It's not.
You just said that. Like,
I can't afford to be around people like that, is what I'm saying. You want to know why?
okay.
Because, you know, like I have people that work for me. What happens if a very wealthy person comes to a person that works for me and says, hey, I'll give you $1 million if you leave Nick Fuentes' back door unlocked?
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, he wouldn't die for me. Like, this is what a ridiculous thing to think about. I don't even agree with 95% of what you talk about. I'm not Catholic. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm a white nationalism. Like, why would I die for something that has, that doesn't benefit me or doesn't align with me? What a ridiculous expectation to have somebody you call your friend.
Yeah.
If you don't die for my political cause, you're a disloyal friend. What are you talking about?
If you're in my situation, that is how you have to look at it.
Yeah, but to expect people to fall in line with your completely abnormal situation is ridiculous.
I'm not. When I say expect you to do that, I just said I can't afford to be around people that are like her. I can't afford, like, you know, you say, well, you're bad because I said this, that, or the other. I said, yeah, I mean, I can't be friends with people that are ride or die. So, that's it.
All right, so you want people to die for you. To be fun.
I need to trust them. I need to trust them.
I mean, I sugarcoated you. You said that people need to die for your cause to be
Either
fun.
ride with me or die with me.
All right, so I mean, that's where I go.
Millions are.
Why to expect me, like a mixed race Muslim, to go die for your cause?
Why does that have anything to do with it?
Because your cause is white nationalism. Why would I die for that?
My cause is the truth, actually.
Is it white nationalism or not?
It's the truth about what's happening to the world.
You're okay, then you're sugarcoating it. You're bending over backwards for the.
I'm not. The truth is that whites are being genocided in the world. It's lowering the global average IQ and destroying human prosperity.
Okay.
So, to the extent that that is true, yes, it is imperative that we protect the demographics of Europe and America. Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, that's what you're saying makes sense. But do you expect me to die for white nationalism to be your friend?
For the truth.
Yeah, I didn't say yes to that question.
For the truth.
Okay.
You can
So I
follow that. You can say white supremacy, anti-Semitic. You expect me to die for white supremacy?
Are you a white supremacist?
No.
Do you think you don't think whites are the superior race? Okay, you don't think you're the best?
Now this is another liberal pill pull. Are you a white supremacist?
No, it's liberal and you're offended by it.
How do you wake up in bed and you're the guy that's asking another guy, are you a white supremacist?
What's wrong with that question?
I think I've won this.
It's a straight up question.
It's just a gay question to ask. What does that even mean?
I need to believe that whites are the superior race. Do you believe that?
I'm not like, yeah.
Okay, so you don't even want to answer this. Now you're bending over because you don't like this question.
I'm not. It's just,
You'd be calling it a gay question to escape. It's a straight up question.
I thought we were at Red Pill headquarters, not
Yeah, now, if you think red pill is whites are superior, then we have a different idea of red pill.
Okay, I didn't say that. and you're agreeing
Oh,
with
it's
this.
just here's the
No gotcha question.
That's not a gotcha.
And it's pernicious.
Okay, so it's a
That's
gotcha.
what a CNN reporter.
But if it's a gotcha question by his logic that he's running away and he's bending over backwards, being strategic so he doesn't get banned. Same fucking thing about the podcast. Now you're being strategic because you don't like a question. How is that? Do you not see the double standard? Now it's gay. Now it's this. Dude, that's the same logic.
It's a low IQ non sequitur.
Yeah, just like it's low IQ for that podcast. Why? Like, don't get upset about it.
Yeah. Listen, man. You want YouTube? I would too. I say fuck you too. That's what I say. Fuck you. We're on party.
Hey, man, I love this.
This is